Hey everyone, Kili and Mike here from Long Range with the Lilies in Hyde Park, Utah at Lone Peak with Brian and Mike. And we came down to check out the shop, see how actions are made, and kind of interview these guys and see how they got started with everything. I know you guys through competition shooting. That's how we met. We got recommended to you from another shooter, and then we met in person. So you guys are both accomplished shooters. Every time I see you guys at matches, you're shooting pretty well, in my opinion. So you guys want to talk about how you got started?
So as far as the shooting aspect of things, we probably got it started in the shooting about a year into to when we started making actions.
Okay.
And we did it to, I guess, help us become better hunters, better shooters. When we were out in the field, got addicted as everybody else does, and things transpired from there, and you know, that's kind of how we grew our competition line of actions.
And I think that's a very common story amongst competitive shooters. They all get into it to be better shooters, and then once they're there, they're bit by the bug. You know, okay, now I want a rifle that shoots this good consistently. Now I'm upgrading this, I'm upgrading that, and it leads into spending a bunch of money for most people. So what about you, Brian?
Yeah, same thing. Like I say, hunting background. Didn't really even think about, well, we'd done some, like, just, I guess they call them belly matches and that type of stuff. Sure, they have some local ones here, and Mike had some success, and I thought I was a lot better than I was, and learned some hard lessons.
That seems to be the story.
Yeah, and like I say, got more serious into it, and you know, learned how to reload properly, learned how to, you know, actually get dope that really worked, and you know, on small targets, and like I say, kind of evolved that way. There was some matches in Price, Utah, not too far from here, that kind of sparked our interest in the PRS style world, and they still have matches down that way. But that's really where, you know, if you're at all competitive, which we are, then, like I say, even if it's with yourself, just a self-improvement from one match to another.
Sure.
Like I say, there's a million different ways to look at it, but like I say, like I say, we always want to do better. So.
Well, I mean, it seems to have paid off, and the pictures that you guys send me of some of the animals you guys have taken recently have been pretty phenomenal. So obviously that's paying off, and I think that's what I express to people. Like, it just builds your confidence in yourself and your system. So in that critical moment, taking the shot is like the least of your worries at that point. So you guys met through shooting, or did you meet some other way?
Mike's brother and I worked together, so that's how we met, and so then we built a couple of semi-custom rifles, and then kind of evolved from there.
So you are a machinist first,
Yep.
right? And then Mike, you are in law enforcement.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So met through his brother.
Yep.
Here at this shop, or
no, at another shop here in town that we both worked at, and then we both went our separate ways. I started a shop, and so did he. And like I say, we stayed friends, and eventually I ended up working for him. So.
Okay.
So how did you guys go from, you know, tinkering basically and kind of making your rifles better to, like, I want to produce, you know, the best action in the business? Like, how did that process go?
Well, I mean, it was first we saw a demand in the market. Like I say, we were waiting, you know, 6 months sometimes, depending on time of year, for a custom action. Mike was building rifles on his own by that point for other people, and so the bug was always there to do something on our own, because we had all the right equipment. So of course it was more of a process than what we thought when we first started, but you know, you learn as you go. So that's kind of how it started.
Okay.
I mean, looking back, you know, I think anybody now, 6 months now seems very reasonable. You know, things have gotten way worse. I think it's one of the things that I get the most feedback on you guys is your lead time is actually fairly reasonable. What would you say your lead time is right now?
We try to stay around 4 months. Left-handed versions maybe a little longer.
Sure.
Poor lefties, you know.
Wrong-handed shooters.
But yeah, we try to hover around 4 months. Occasionally we'll have a little shorter lead times. We try to run extra actions in each batch. So if your timing's right, you may hit like a 2-month lead time. But yeah, the demand is definitely increasing recently across the board throughout the firearms industry, and we've seen that as well. So our lead times have creeped up and got a little bit longer.
Yeah, I know from my perspective it matches. I see your guys' actions more and more and more. I'm starting to see them kind of spread and bloom out there.
Yeah.
We talked about batches, so you guys don't just make one action, you make a wide variety of products. I think that Kili and I are most familiar with the Fusion because that's what we brought to you.
Sure.
So can we talk about the different actions you guys make?
Yeah. Kili's got the original action that we made, not the original one, but the original model.
This is the Razor.
The Razor, yep. So, like I say, the biggest part of our market is hunting world.
Okay.
So the shooting market is fairly small in comparisons to the hunting world. And so, like I say, a lot of the stuff that we do caters to that market, but it'll cross over to the competition world as well. So so this was our first model.
And this is a long action, right?
That is correct. Yep.
Okay, so you guys do short, medium,
and
long action, which is huge.
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, this is like 300 Win Mag, 7 Rem Mag, whatever you want to run on a long action cartridge. This would be a good place to start. So standard Remington footprint. So your aftermarket triggers, bottom metal, scope mounts, that type of stuff will all.
It's all compatible.
Yeah, like I say, scope mounts. You have to get the right ones, of course, because we upgraded the screws to number 8s from number 6s, so it's a little more robust. Plus they're pinned as well, so they'll stay put.
Which is important if you're shooting a long action. You're dealing with a high recoiling.
Yep, you bet.
So what's the price point on the Razor?
That's $1150.
$1150 for the stainless version.
Yes.
And you also make a titanium version.
Correct. That's $1,500.
$1,500. Okay.
Yep.
So,
probably number one question we'll get asked.
So your Razor is kind of your baseline action as far as your custom actions that you make here. Step up from the Razor is the Fusion. Is that correct?
Correct.
And mainly the only difference is the added Picatinny rail to the top.
Okay.
Both versions have integrated recoil lug. The Fusion has the integrated Picatinny rail. 20 MOA on the short, medium, and long, and then the 338 version is a 30 MOA cant.
Okay.
So for people who don't know, what is the advantage to having an integrated Picatinny rail on these actions?
I mean, the biggest thing is you don't have to worry about screws ever coming loose.
Which is huge.
Which, honestly, on the Razor, if you use a little bit of Loctite on your screws, I've never had one come loose.
Yeah.
If it's done right.
Yeah,
So,
I find that like 95% of your customers don't shoot enough for it to even matter.
Right.
I think when you're talking about people that shoot thousands and thousands of rounds, especially if it's a high recoiling thousands and thousands of rounds, then you can start looking at, eliminating that variable. We shoot the Fusion and we love it. I think one of the big draws in your actions, and the reason we came to you guys in the first place, was your tolerances that you hold. Consistency to action. So for those of you guys that don't know, it used to be whenever you got an action, you would have to send that to a custom gunsmith. You would have to take all the dimensions and make your barrel surface, true it, blueprint it, and that. But your actions are so consistent, lot to lot, that you could take a pre-fit barrel that's cut for this action and just change it over, which is what we do.
Yep.
Yep, and like I say, that's come about, and I'd say in the last 3 years or so, more and more popularity that way. And that's the other thing is from the Razor to the Fusion, there's no difference, so you wouldn't have to specifically order one for one or the other. The same barrel would work on each.
Right. So I tested that theory. I took a barrel off of my Fusion and put it on a Razor just to shoot it and try it. And the same thing with my titanium. So this year last hunting season for titanium, I had a 6.5 Creedmoor barrel proof carbon fiber, and then I took that off and put on my 6.5 PRC barrel. And it's nice not to have, you know, a whole barreled action that is only good for that one thing. I could go from, you know, barrel to barrel to barrel, caliber to caliber to caliber.
Which we do probably more than we'd like to admit.
Probably, yeah, more than we would like to admit. So what's the price point on the Fusion?
$1,400.
$1,400. And then you also have the titanium Fusion, which I have and love.
Yep. $1,700 for that.
$1,700.
Yep.
So what would you say the advantages of titanium? I think most people are familiar with it. It's a little bit lighter weight. Is there any other advantages to the titanium?
That's the main difference right there, is weight savings. Okay. So yeah, it's the lightweight hunting market is really big. So,
of course.
So yeah, nobody wants to carry up a 16-pound rifle up a steep mountain that we have around here. So like I say, that's what people want, is a lightweight rifle that will hold the same, you know, consistency group-wise and shooting-wise, that type of thing, as a heavy rifle would. And so that's, you know, like I say, that fills that market, the titanium.
And I think that's a great point to hit on. You said consistency, and I've met a lot of people who are like, oh, why would you spend that much for a rifle? I bought a $400 rifle and it shoots one hole groups. And that's what I tell them, is the consistency from rifle to rifle to rifle. Like, you may buy that $400 rifle and it may shoot lights out with that particular ammo that you got lucky with the next time. And then you buy another one of the same rifle and you can't get it to hit the broadside of the barn. It's that consistency and quality of the action and the barrel and the rifle system, and the action is the heart of that it starts it all off. Are you guys seeing that trend kind of matriculate over into the hunting world?
As far as the
more customs.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. That seems to be the norm anymore with most people, at least in our groups that we deal with, is custom rifles seem to be more and more the norm, like I say, than the off-the-shelf stuff. So yeah, it's a big market.
So Kili asked me on the way over how these things are made, and I have no idea. So I'm going to leave it to you guys to explain it.
We got a couple of large pieces of metal here. So yeah, if you could walk me through how it goes from this to this.
Sure. So we order, this is stainless, 416 stainless. So we order bar stock. They come in 12 foot long bars. We cut them up into different lengths and we machine them after that. So first they get cut up, then they get sent off to heat treat. We bring them back, and then they start the turning process. Like I say, we get it to this point, and then we take and put it on the mill and rough it down to what is closer to what someone might recognize as an action. Here's the recoil lug, here's the Picatinny rail, and then from there we start finishing it to this status here. This is a totally done one, of course, but it will come off the off the mill with the pick rail finish, the ejection port, the mag well, the trigger pocket, all the holes, you know, pretty much done. And then from there we take and start whittling it down even further. So like I say, that's kind of how it begins. And it razor or fusion, it's slightly different. There's less roughing involved with they come off the lathe pretty much ready to go. The only thing that you need to do is cut the recoil lug.
And these are 416 steel?
416, yep. So
okay. Well, guys, I appreciate you talking us all the way through it. You know, you make short actions, long actions, stainless, titanium. You're pretty much covering all the bases. Is there anything we left out or anything else you guys want to cover?
I think along those lines is our medium length actions.
Right.
Recently, 6.5 PRC, 7 SOM has become huge in the hunting industry.
Sure.
So we sell a lot of medium length actions for those types of cartridges.
Yeah.
My absolute favorite cartridge, if I can only pick one, is my 6.5 PRC.
Yeah.
And then I think it was you that talked to me about 156 burgers, and there's just magic in that combination.
Yeah.
So Kili, is there anything you wanted to talk about or discuss?
No, I think that we hit on everything. Thank you guys for walking me around the shop and talking us through how this got started and how it's going now. If you guys like this video, please make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. We have all kinds of stuff. We're adding new content all the time. And if you guys have any questions for these guys, can you tell us where to find your actions online?
LonePeakArms.com is our website. you can go there. There's a link to send emails. Also, our shop telephone number there. If you want to call in and have any questions, we'd be happy to answer those.
Very good. And if you guys have any other questions, please leave them in the comments below, and we will see you out there.